Do you recall the last time that you spoke to Fabio?
Yes.
And do you remember what day that was?
Sunday, January 22nd, 2017.
And during that conversation, well, let me ask you first this. When Fabio wasn't traveling, did he usually come into the office?
Yes.
And did you have a conversation with him where you were not expecting him to come in the following day, that Monday the 23rd?
I had a conversation with him that he was having a procedure, and I did not expect him to come into the office.
And did he tell you that he was going to be working from home the next day?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Goes to explain subsequent conduct. Go ahead, sir.
I don't remember him telling me that he was going to work from home the whole day, other than me knowing that he was supposedly having a procedure on the 23rd morning.
Okay. The following day, Monday, January 23rd, at some point in time, did Fabio leave you a voice message?
He sent me a text message.
Did he
First thing in the morning.
I'm sorry?
He sent me a text message in the morning.
Did he also leave you a voice message at some point?
I received a voice message. I believe it actually populated the next day, and I believe the voice message was connected to a call that I received around 4:30 on the 23rd.
To be more specific, would that have been a voice message that was left at 4:27 p.m. on January 23rd?
I'm going to assume that's the same, yes.
At some point after January 23rd, did you send that voice message to a Detective Steve Castro at the LAPD?
Yes.
Where were you that day on that Monday, January 23rd?
In the office.
That office, at that point in time, that was in Woodland Hills, is that right?
DeSoto, Woodland Hills, yeah.
When you were at the office, did you generally have a television in your office that you would have on?
Yes.
Okay. And at the end of the day on January 23rd, what happened?
People congregated around my office, normally my leadership team, a handful of them. I think late in the day, let's say around 4 or 4:30, was my CFO and head of HR. We were kind of hanging around my office. There might have been a couple other people coming in and out, but I remember the two of them for sure.
The CFO at that point in time was who?
Robert Lucian.
Okay, Bob Lucian. And
Bob
who
Lucian.
was the HR director?
Henry Meyer.
And what did your phone start to ring?
My phone, we were having a conversation and I saw an unknown call right around 4:30 or just prior. And I did not answer it because, again, it was unknown and we were in some kind of conversation. So, yes.
And at some point later, did you realize that it was a coming in from a phone number that was Fabio's home phone?
No. I realized that when I heard his voice message that for whatever reason populated hours later or the next.
So Sal receives a call from Fabio on January 23rd, 2017, the day he was murdered. And that was at about 4:27. Prosecutors say it was right around that time that he was murdered, shortly thereafter. So they're keeping tabs on a timeline there. All right, we'll pause it right here, but when we return, Fabio's friend and former employer describes the Facebook calls that made him aware that Fabio was dead. Now, he thought the calls were just a sick joke. More testimony in the celebrity stylist murder trial when we return.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, unpacking today's closing arguments in the deadly son murder trial. We're live with the very latest as deliberations get underway.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV. This week,
What you need to know for the day ahead in the trial of A$AP Rocky. Plus, Friday, a closer look at true crime cases with a voice for victims.
opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
All right, folks, so let's get back into court for the celebrity stylist murder trial of Monica Sementilli. The victim's friend, Salvatore Mauceri, is still on direct. He's detailing now how he discovered Facebook calls about Fabio's death were not a cruel joke.
I received, and I don't remember whether they were Facebook messages, but I was receiving either Facebook calls or messages, I think it was calls, from one of Fabio's acquaintances on the East Coast that I really kind of just discounted as I was continuing to have conversations with whomever was in my office. And then I received a call, probably, I don't know if it was 6:30, from, I guess it was Mike, I can't remember his last name, who introduced himself as, "Hey Sal, this is Mike. We met at Monica and Fabio's Thanksgiving, and I'm calling you to tell you Fabio is dead."
And what, if anything, did you do at that point?
Well, first and foremost, because I knew that, at least I thought, that he had a procedure in the morning, I thought it was a sick joke, and that's what I said to him. I said, and then he said, "No, this is not a joke. He has been killed, and Monica and the girls are either with me or across the street at a neighbor's house." And so I was in shock, and I said, "Okay, well, we're gonna come there." Hung up, and then I ended up answering the call from the guy who called again from the East Coast, which was this gentleman called Donald Steris. And he was asking me the same thing. I don't think I actually told him what I heard, but he was saying, "I think something happened to Fabio." And so I hung up, and we left.
Would it be safe to say that although this portion of the beauty industry is extremely large, that it's very well connected and word travels fast?
Super well connected.
Yeah. When this individual, Mike, called, did he also indicate that that Monica and the girls were with the police? Did he mention the word police?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I remember the location, that she was across the street.
Okay. And what did you do at that point?
I told, I think at the time was Bob Lucian. He had reached out to David Diaz, who was living, I think, across the street.
Who is Dave Diaz?
Dave Diaz was heading up some of our largest customers.
He was one of your VPs, correct?
He was one of my VPs.
For Canadian business?
He was originally in the Canadian business, but he had transitioned to Los Angeles, and so he was living in a kind of corporate apartment or rental.
Okay. So he had already left for the day?
He was flying somewhere and had arrived, did not come into the office. Bob called him, and then he raced over. So he was there within minutes. I walked outside and was looking for Henry Meyer, who had left his office.
You mentioned he was your HR director.
Head of HR, correct. He was getting in his car, so I waved for him to come back. We congregated together, and the four of us jumped in a car and raced over to the neighbor's house.
Okay. So you went to the Queen Victoria Street.
Yes.
And when you arrived at Queen Victoria, what, if anything, did you see?
The moment we arrived, we saw all the police vehicles, and the road was cordoned off.
All right. And were you able to get onto the street?
I was. We told them that I was, that I knew the family, that the person, that the victim was worked for me, and they allowed us to walk over to the neighbor's house, which is what we did.
That was across the street from the Sementilli home?
I think it was like Caddy Corner, but yeah, across the street.
And did you have contact with the defendant that night?
I believe that we were outside on a stoop. There's a few stairs going to the front door, and we were standing right there.
And did you have contact with the defendant there?
Yes.
Okay. And did you say anything to her at that point in time?
I mean, I hugged her. She was, she looked devastated. I told her that, we would do everything we could for her and the family. I really couldn't find any more words than that. And we left. We were not there very long at all.
While you were speaking to her, was her friend Deborah Obad there?
Honestly, other than a couple of pictures that I've seen in the press or whatever, I don't remember the lady other than the communication that I had with her.
Okay. So in other words, the defendant was standing with another woman on the stoop.
I think there were a handful of people on the stoop.
Okay.
I don't recall who exactly they were, but there were a handful of people on the stoop.
Okay. And what did you do at that point?
We raced on back to the office. This was going to be a huge, tragic issue for our broad organization. It was now late at night. It was going to be a very large communication, let's say, situation for
In terms of
the company.
PR?
To the trade. Yeah. PR, I guess, more of a...
All right, a little after this, we find out that Monica Sementilli almost immediately wants to ask him about the insurance or what insurance there might be. Let's bring back in our guest, criminal defense attorney Robin Nunn. Robin, what do you make of the defendant? It seemed like, and we've heard testimony from her stepson, that she was almost immediately the day after worried about, the insurance money. We're going to find out from this particular witness that the day after, or actually not too long after, she's asking him about the insurance money. What do you make of all that, and how this might be playing out for this jury?
Yeah, I think this is playing out poorly for the defendant. She's going to need to do some rehabilitation, and as far as her character and her sympathy towards the death of her, former husband, she's coming across as very cold and calculated. Even her body language in the courtroom isn't coming across as very sympathetic as a wife who's grieving. So I think that the defendant right now with this testimony is in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, I mentioned earlier, if her husband died, if someone's husband dies, and he was the main provider for the family, I could see them being worried about the money, but not the day of or the day right after the murder. I think that's very problematic for her. And even more problematic is they're going to find out at some point during this trial that there was a tremendous amount of communication between her and the murderer, in this case, Robert Baker. And between 2015, about 18 months between December of 2015 and June of 2017, there were about 30 texts a day. It comes out to about 16,000 texts and over 550 phone calls between the two of them. When you start putting it all together, you can see where the state's case is going.
Yeah, you can absolutely see, and it honestly makes sense given the facts. It comes across as very cold and very calculated to ask about finances and money and insurance policies right after you learn that someone has been murdered. I don't think that there's much of an explanation for that, and it's a very, very bad fact against the defendant in this case.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, Robin Nunn, you're going to be sticking around with us for our next hour because we're going to have extended coverage of the celebrity stylist murder trial of Monica Sementilli. Now, we'll get you back inside that courtroom when we return, so keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
card for a free quote.
Did the defendant talk to you that night about anything else other than life insurance? Or was that the only topic she spoke about?
The night of the murder?
Yes.
That was the only topic of conversation.
This was a conversation that you had with the defendant within perhaps an hour or a couple hours of your dad's murder?
An hour, yeah. A couple of hours would probably be generous.
Welcome back to our special coverage of the celebrity stylist murder trial of Monica Sementilli. I'm Michael Ayala. Sementilli is charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing death of her husband, famed Hollywood hairstylist Fabio Sementilli. She's charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Sementilli back in January of 2017. Now, during testimony today, Luigi Sementilli, the stepson of the defendant, son of the victim, testified that he heard his father and Monica arguing about her alleged extramarital affairs. Luigi also told the jury that on the day that his father was killed, the defendant was, quote, freaking out about money that was coming to him from Fabio's life insurance policy. But right now, we're going to head back to court where Salvatore Mauceri is still on direct. Remember, he was the boss of Fabio at the time he worked at Weller.
We were trying to decipher what we were going to do, who we were going to call, how we enroll our European organization to also get some level of direction from them or support more than anything else.
And later that night, did you receive a series of text messages?
I received at least one as an initial text message. I believe it was like 11:30, and yes, that came from Deborah Obad.
Okay. And did she indicate to you something relative to Monica?
She's, I think, introduced herself. I'm Deborah Obad. I got your number from Monica. She needs to know information about the insurance company or the insurance, and I can't remember if it was in that initial text where she said, you know, because of the Cody acquisition, she wants to know information about the insurance.
Because of the what? Did you say the what?
The Cody purchase of the P&G business.
Okay, the Cody purchase.
Yeah.
So this was during the subsequent to Cody purchasing Wella.
It was after Cody had purchased Wella.
Okay. I have a text message string that appears to have six pages, may be marked as people's 89 through.
Can you just mark them all as 89? 1 through whatever?
Sure.
Thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you. Showing you Exhibit 89, where there's a left, in the bottom left corner, there's a red number 1. Was this the beginning of a text message string?
I mean, I see our numbers at the time. I don't see a text associated with it.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you have some conversation with Deborah Obad that night relative to Fabio or Monica? Or
Not
was
that
it
I
all
recall.
via text message?
Text message.
Showing you 89, page 2. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes?
Okay. And are these text messages that came from your phone?
To my phone, right?
Okay. And came to your phone from Deborah Obad?
I believe so, yes.
Well, is that what you recall?
Yes.
Okay. And is looking at the bubble in blue, is this from you back to Deborah Obad?
Yes.
Okay. And here you're saying we talked to her, meaning Monica?
Yes.
And when you say his entire lead team, are you referring to Fabio?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is not the initial text. This is subsequent text, and because here I'm saying I already talked to my lead team, his lead team, which I had not until the next day. So it's not the initial text
Okay.
I received.
Nevertheless, looking at, did you continue to get text messages from Deborah Obad over the into the early morning hours of January 24th?
I received a series of text messages from her. Yes, one starting at around 11:30 and then continued, I'm assuming, into the early morning hours.
And looking at the right side of 89, number 2 at the top, does this appear to be consistent with what you were just telling us?
Yes.
About Deborah Obad inquiring from Monica about life insurance?
Yes.
Okay. And the change with Cody?
Yes.
Cody would be spelled with a T, correct?
T, with a T.
And what did you respond?
I was directing her to Henry, which I did several times, simply because I'm not in a position to discuss personal insurance information. HR is best positioned for that.
And Henry, as you said, was
Head of HR.
Was the head of HR. Okay. And so you, when this came through during the early morning hours of January 24th regarding Monica inquiring about life insurance, you directed Deborah to have Monica contact Henry.
I directed either Deborah or Monica to reach out to Henry who can then help them out. But I was not the person that can help them.
Okay. You were the CEO.
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 89, page 3. There's a 3 in the bottom right corner. Again, is this part of the text string between you and Deborah Obad regarding Monica?
Yes.
Okay. And you, in this part, said something about Fabio's sister.
Yes.
What is it that you were relating here?
I recall me sending an initial text saying Monica is probably not in a mental state, and so you should direct your questions to Henry, and/or later I said it would be best once her family comes in that the family be included so that she can then understand the details of her insurance policy or the insurance policy.
Besides knowing Fabio's wife and children, did you also know his sister?
I knew Morella, yes.
Okay. And how did you know Morella?
She was also a stylist, and she was utilized in the U.S. as well. She was also had stage presence because of her experience.
Okay. So when you say she was utilized, she was also, as Fabio started out, an independent contractor for well as a platform artist.
Yes.
And an educator.
Yes.
Okay. Looking over at the right side of the page, now we're at about 10:30 in the morning on January 24th, you receive a text from Deborah Obad to call her. And what was your response here?
I really didn't want to talk to the lady, so I kept pushing her over to Henry.
Showing you People's 89, page 4. Was this a response that you gave back to Deborah Obad?
Yes.
And when you said we have a series of meetings, are you dictating?
Series and, no, I probably just misspelled it.
Okay. So you were basically in the process of having, as you explained to us already, a series of meetings with your organization.
Yes.
And you again directed her back to your HR director, Henry Meyer, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in the end of this text string, you also said that you were having a difficult time dealing with this loss.
Yes.
That was because of your relationship with Fabio.
Yes.
Now, when you received this series of text messages from Deborah Obad saying that Monica was inquiring about the life insurance, what were your thoughts on that? What did you do in response?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
When I received the text message the evening of, I thought it was bizarre because I didn't know this person. She was suggesting she was calling or messaging for Monica. I felt Monica was not in a position to really be asking for this at this point, so I found it bizarre, and I showed it to, I believe it was Henry Meyer and Dave Diaz, Bob Lucian, the guys that were with me, the three that were with me.
Okay. And that was because when you said it was bizarre, that was because you felt it wasn't the main concern at that moment.
I did not think it was the main concern at that moment, and that I felt this is traditionally the type of thing a company will take care of and should not be the point of interest the night of.
At that point. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.